A Godzilla that's not afraid to pull up on Olympus, like the gods of Olympus, like Poseidon, gods like Ares, Zeus, you name it. Oh boy. Godzilla, just like pretty much a lot of universes, is over thousands of years old, even possibly millions. Like he's like a myth when people do archaeology type stuff. They even talk about how could something like Godzilla have lived so long ago. Even in this comic series, they imply he's millions of years old during the Cretaceous period. 136 million years ago with the dinosaurs and stuff. Godzilla's here. Godzilla's rage has no bounds, that it even spreads, pun intended, rage across time. Like that's the series I'm going over today when it comes to Godzilla. A lot of you don't know, Godzilla has comics that he appears in. It's the same thing about every Godzilla. He's a Godzilla, so he's ridiculously large, of course. He has the standard stuff like blast power. This is a common Godzilla theme. Energy projection, blast from his mouth, atomic breath. Like this version of him has it. Rage Across Time has this too, Godzilla. So basically in raw muscle or strength, just like his size would suggest, he can lift up your favorite ships or boats with his raw muscle. Standard Godzilla strength. I'm gonna get back to his strength in a second, but yeah, his skin is really durable like you're used to. Like we're talking about a being that's okay with being in lava. They even talk about when it comes to his heat generation, they said the ships are superheated and petrified, protected and preserved. No typhoon could have done this. They said Godzilla. There's even times Godzilla will show battle IQ. Like in this series, you see his arm on this other being, using him as kind of like a shield, along with Godzilla dodging himself. So yeah, he has a brain, ducking and dodging. But yeah, back to his raw strength. We've seen him like literally wrestle with other creatures his similar size, bite them in the process, fight them. Like we've seen beings actually run towards Zilla. Like you see the blur effect. They're implying this creature's running towards Godzilla. Look how Godzilla grabs them and slings them. This proves what I literally said. He can lift beings his weight or more, over hundreds of thousands of tons. This universe version of him can. We're not even going to get on his biting power. He can bite off literal heads. Yikes, no head for you. Not to mention he has piercing damage with the claws. With all this strength I already showed you, imagine what his strikes feel like. He can obviously collapse buildings with his strikes. He's as big as buildings, just like every other Godzilla, you know. We've seen him hit rocks and stuff, and we see like rocks collapse after his heads. Standard stuff. Yeah, just don't be in a nearby building. He'll destroy it. You can forget trying to stab him with a blade. That ain't gonna work. His skin is really resilient. He can withstand being ganged up on by multiple beings. Like, look at this assault. I would say his blast, one could argue, is even better than his strikes or his just raw size. He can project stuff from far away to blast you with, killing other huge creatures by either slamming them or just slamming them and then blasting them. You know, a combination of both. He's blasted creatures out of the sky. He can mess up entire fleets. Like, yeah, poor boats. I've mentioned this earlier, but yeah, the radiation is literally confirmed to be able to petrify stuff because Godzilla, we've seen him getting in Dragon Ball Z style beam struggles when this being shot like a fire blast. He intercepted it with his own blast, damaging these beings with his blast in the process. Godzilla's large, but him being stronger than his size would suggest is nothing new when it comes to Godzilla. Yeah, he's large, but there's clear implications of him being stronger with his size would suggest how he's effortlessly able to toss beings around his similar size like it's nothing. And not to mention his blast can be seen from very far away to show his blast power. Meteorites coming towards him, like a lot of them. He can use his super breath to blow them away. A good way to understand how strong he is the opponents he battles. This creature is a good example of it. Godzilla can damage with his blast badly, along with Godzilla being able to withstand attacks from this being. Like, you see this big structure? This right here looks like a mountain-like structure, and a creature that Godzilla has to take on does catastrophic damage to such large structures. You can kind of see the edges of it here. It's kind of hard to tell, but yeah, this is the type of stuff Godzilla has to compete against. This kind of stuff would just pretty much imply, based on Godzilla's blast power and stuff, that mountain-type destruction is totally plausible. There's times when fiction copies some stuff that happens in real life and such. They have their own interpretation of certain events. This particular eruption of a mountain apparently happened in real life. This seems like this universe's interpretation of how these events happen. Godzilla is apparently the cause of this universe's version of this Mount eruption, which released a lot of energy. And you can get a visual of it right here. All that cataclysmic destruction because of his raw blast power is because of Godzilla. Oh yeah, by the way, all of this destruction, stated by archaeologists, they said it looks like it happened in an instant. This pretty much proves that Godzilla in his own right when it comes to his blast power is like his own nuclear bomb. You know, Godzilla didn't only, he just destroyed the biggest mountain in history. Mount Olympus, it's even stated, Mount Olympus in ruins because of the monster. Godzilla did all of this. Not only can Godzilla mess up mountains, but even the biggest mountain of all time, Mount Olympus, He's way scarier than mere nuclear bombs, right? This universe's depiction of Mount Olympus seems to be pretty large. Look how small the buildings and stuff look to Mount Olympus is above the clouds. So like it seems like this depiction seems to be pretty crazy. These gods have very little screen time, but yeah, there's certain themes about them that should apply. Like if we assume this version of Poseidon can really control the entirety of the sea, you know, if we assume that Earth is anything like our Earth, you guys know the routine. Like, look how big the Earth, look at all this water on the planet. There's more water than continents. Yeah, this can get, I guess, you know, it's not much to go off of, so work with me here. I guess this can kind of give you an idea of how strong Godzilla could possibly be facing these deities of this universe. Because he did face off against Poseidon, and Poseidon blasted him, of course, with an insanely strong tidal wave. Like, this is a lot of water. It seems to be taking inspiration from the myth about Poseidon being able to control the sea. And despite these crazy attacks, Godzilla can withstand this. Even if you assume Poseidon can't control the entire sea, even a localized sea, like within the area, this would still kind of add on top of the fact of nuclear, bare minimum type of power output. Even localized areas of the sea will still be a lot of landmass. You know what I mean? Yes, it's confirmed that Poseidon has failed, god of the ocean, against Godzilla. Failed. You know, it's a bit vague. Not much to go off of. Work with me here. I know these gods don't really have that many showings, but I just don't care. Like, any version of these gods have to be strong because pretty much any version of these gods, usually in fiction, have similar myth type of lore to their stuff. And for him to incinerate Ares like this has to be a ridiculous feat. I would say this is probably way more impressive than mountain shattering and stuff. But yeah, we just haven't seen this Ares do anything really. His body can withstand blasts from Zeus himself. But anyway, we see Godzilla take on the king of the gods, Zeus himself. Even smashed on Zeus. Zeus pushed his blast back. Zeus pushed him off of him. Gave everything he had against Godzilla when it comes to his blast power. Even stated, use the last of my power to vanquish the monster. Vanquish that devil. Like, Zeus gave everything he had to even do this to Godzilla. To the point where, like, Zeus was, like, depowered on some depowered status. We could speculate that if Zeus of this Godzilla universe is anything like, you know, certain myth feats like holding the world or something, one could say this version of Godzilla could be a planet buster or a planetary level being, a being that can withstand the pressures of planets on him and stuff, based on his occasion with Zeus fighting the other gods and stuff. We just never seen him fight Hercules and Atlas of this universe. Does this universe version of Atlas hold the world? You see what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of questions. Who do you think in this universe can punch harder? This universe version of Hercules or this version of Zeus's lightning bolt like this, for example? We'll probably never get answers to this question, but if we was to ask the writers of this Rage Across Time, does Atlas exist? Does Atlas hold the weight of the world on his shoulders in this universe? Where's Hercules? Can Hercules hold the world? If you was to ask these writers these questions, what do you think they would say? You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to, you know, throw too, just critical thinking. Just think about that for a second. If Poseidon can really attack somebody with all the weight of the ocean at the same time, that would imply he can hit with millions of times worse than a nuclear bomb and such. The amount of water that's on planet Earth, that's a lot of weight. That would basically be like a smaller planetoid falling on your face. Like, if we really were to take that ocean manipulation for Poseidon true and Godzilla can overpower the same kind of power, I would say that's totally believable. I would say it's totally believable for Godzilla to be able to hit with a moon-sized structure landing on your face based on him overpowering these different gods like Poseidon and such. I would say that's fair, right? If we assume Poseidon really can control the ocean to its entirety or blast with the weight of the entire ocean, I feel like that's fair. What do you think? Godzilla's built different. Not even Zeus can keep him down. But what do you guys think? How strong do you think this Godzilla is? Godzilla also believes you should smash that like button, but before I get going, seriously, everybody smash that like button. Before I get going, thanks for the donations, everybody. Helps out a lot. Respect Godzilla. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.